Hello, welcome to the Daily Loop. Right, transfer bids the first. Okay, I think this guy... I think we just... I don't know. I think we just sell him. I'll just check the youth squad out. Yeah, I think we do. Got to move him out of the team to sell him. I think we just sell him, and then I think Chapa can just be on the bench. Something like this. It's not much money, but alright. Next thing, academy trialists. So the tackling 28 doesn't matter too much. We've got finishing coming up next, and then speed. So big attributes being revealed. He's only got 5 composure, so yeah, worth bearing that in mind. The keeper 12 speed. We already knew that. Alright, 22 speed. I think we probably move this guy out because we just don't need DCs unless they're elite, and he just won't be elite with that speed. This guy we can still wait for the speed, I suppose, but again his determination's long. We're not bothered about DC, so we'll probably just rotate him out if we can. This guy's speed's coming up next, but also we're not that bothered about AML either. And then this DC, it's passing and then tackling. So honestly, it truly is the case that we're not even that bothered about any of the 6, I think, because this striker, 5 composure, we don't really need a keeper, we don't really need DCs, and we don't really need AML, so pretty open to anything that comes up here. Not him, don't use DLs. This guy might be better to put in than one of the DCs just because we know that he's got 59 marking and this speed is next. This guy's tackling is next, but again we're just not that bothered about a DL. Probably the shot stopping is just bars off, so we probably don't want to hold on to him for all that time. Some very low attributes for him. Use DR. Right, the passing really good. We'll probably bring this guy in, I'm thinking. Composure and tackling. We would care about the tackling thing, and then the speed. We'll probably bring him in. For endurance, not ideal, but at the end of the day, like having the odd player that probably can only ever be on the substitutes bench isn't that bad. Like if it's just the odd one, you can build your squad around that. So I think we'll move him in, and that other DC will move in. So there's 2 we're going to move in. This guy's only got 28 speed, 4 control, 12 aerial ability. The passing is up next, and the finishing is high. Maybe we could bring him in. I'm not that impressed, to be honest, on the whole, but maybe we could bring him in. This guy, I think, just too low passing. Use left back. The passing is just too far away before we find it out to want to bring him in, and same with this guy. I think he's just a bit... He is slow and control, and then you don't really care at all about positioning. You do care about finishing, but then I'm just looking at him through the lens of if he's just a clinical goal scorer. But the problem is, in order to know that, you would need to know the composure, and that's not being found out anytime soon. And then this guy's just not. So I think the ones that we can bring in is, there was a DC and MC, and then maybe this AMC. I don't hold high hopes for him, to be honest. So probably I think it was this MC, and probably this what was it, I think it was this DC. It has got low composure and positioning. Yeah, probably just instead of this guy. And then I think the question is just about whether we bother bringing this AMC in, I think. I don't know, probably not. It feels like it's unlikely, to be honest, because the really low control is a major issue for the playmaker role, and I'm not really sure why we would recruit an AMC for any other role, because we've already got one in the youth team. This guy, who isn't, the tightest, it's not a priority basically. It's always a priority if it's the right player, but for just a random player that isn't the right player, it's not really a priority to get that position, and I think he just definitely won't be good enough, so we'll pass on him. Next we'll look at the scouter players. Well, quite a few left backs and we don't use them. So we'll just go through. Man, he's really fast. Interestingly, just check his training options. +4 finishing, agility, marking. It's interesting with +4 finishing, he gets up to 68, 81. Interestingly, he's could be a pretty good striker. But yeah, maybe if he was 21, it might be something we would be interested in. But he's just for the youth team this season. But I think, I don't know, 68 finishing. No, did we say +4 finishing? So it'll be 72, right? Yeah, 72 finishing it would end up. The composure isn't great. The movement's okay. Decent strength, can't really dribble, so it's not perfect and can't cross. So yeah, definitely. They're very similar to this guy in some ways. I think the differences are that this guy's also good in the air. He's got higher composure. The other guy had higher long shots though. They both got low dribbling, they both got low control. This guy's got better crossing though, so it's more of a, which isn't insignificant because he can drift wide into channels and cross it, which we do utilise quite a bit in our tactic. Plus we have to add the position. That's 60, 52, 67. So he's better overall, way better at ceiling, way more scope for growth. I mean, maybe. So, on the upside, he's only 650k. Alright, wrong guy. Alright, so he's 850k. The wages are 350. I mean, we'd have to add a position. That's really significant. You can think of that as adding at least. Well, let's look at the manager skills. So if we're taking at this one here, yeah, it's what, depending on how you want to measure stuff, it's kind of worth somewhere between 1 and 3 million. Maybe 1 and 2 million. It's probably closer to 2 million realistically. So adding that position is worth something like $2 million because we will use them for something very useful for sure. Would we pay 2.8 million for this guy? Probably not. It's not really a priority. And I think this is the ultimately, yeah, the thing is that extra 4, that takes him to 72 finishing, which is higher than other strikers. This is the thing, whilst we do want a clinical finisher, and this guy wouldn't be that, he would be more clinical, and he's also got 69 strength. I think that puts him quite a class above the other 2 strikers we've got as well. He is, yeah, so he is similar in some ways, but he's also different, right? Like, he's got the much higher strength, he's not good in the air, and he doesn't have the crossing, but he does have better finishing. I don't know, I feel like and he's probably just straight up better than this guy who is being used. And that was before any injuries. He still had 4 substitute appearances off the bench. And now this striker is injured for 5 matches. So he would get a lot of use. We'll keep thinking on this one because I feel like, and he's also got pretty decent passing and vision and pretty decent control compared to the other guys. I don't know, maybe he is worth just getting, to be honest. I think we already used one of our positions to add, so we would be a couple down pretty early, but we'd still have some left. Right, let's just look through the rest first before we make any decisions here. So, yeah, not good enough. Not good enough. Now I'm just re-looking at this guy for the AMC. I think he's not quite good enough for that because of the passing and the dribbling. Did either of these have passing or dribbling? No. Okay, we'll just keep looking for now. It's a shame because this guy's, yeah, I don't know, sort of useful. Too old for us. 22. Okay, this guy's interesting. He's good in the air. He's a bit slow, but he has good passing. The vision isn't quite good, but he's got decent control and dribbling, which is kind of important as the playmaker. He'll receive the ball a lot, so any on-the-ball skills are useful. A lot of the mentals are a bit low, but you know, they're all reasonable for a 22. Let's look at his options. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but we do know that his ceiling is still 67. So, okay, it's okay. There's room for growth, and he's pretty cheap. And we do need at least a backup for now, because he could be. I mean, I'd say on the whole he's probably not as good as this guy. I don't know, because this guy doesn't really have the vision either. This guy's a bit faster. I'd say on the whole he's probably not as good as this guy. But he's alright, to be honest. Like, the only thing is that he's just a little bit slow. Honestly, I think if his speed was like 60, we'd just take him. We'll come back to this one as well. Let's just keep looking. I just don't know. This is a question, is it worth? Because he's definitely, compared to what we're starting, the thing is though, compared to the backup, compared to this guy, he's definitely just way better. So I do wonder, there is the question here whether we just buy him, you know, intended to be the backup, not the starter, and still be on the lookout for the starter, and then just sell up Harburg. So I think this guy potentially does have scope, let's say, to be purchased here. Alright, don't use the right wing backs. So he's only 20. So he would play in the youth team probably if we got him as well. So the 11 determination is a bit off-putting. Let's look at what his training options are. He's got a pretty low ceiling actually, 58. We might just pass on him because of that. He would get the 2 passing, 2 flair, 1 natural fitness, which would help a little bit with his endurance issues. But the determination is probably capped out at 11. The strength is probably capped out at 9. Which, as bad as it sounds, it's at least it lets you know a little bit where you're standing with that 58 ceiling, that these 2 attributes in particular are probably capped out and probably at these super low values. So that low ceiling isn't as bad as what you would think when applied across everything else. Quite as bad. It's another one we'll think about. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think having said all that, well, let's just quickly compare him to our youth team. Probably this guy. So he's definitely just a straight up upgrade in passing, in tackling, in the ability to get back up and back with the speed, probably in the aerial ability. He's probably just a straight significant upgrade over this guy. I mean, this guy does have a higher ceiling though. I think 62 versus 58. But as I said, the ceiling isn't as bad. I mean, we may just get this guy. I don't know. It's still 120k wages. I think the question is, because he is a straight up upgrade, he's also would be then the best central midfielder in the youth team. Is probably, I think the question ultimately though, is he an upgrade over this guy? That's really the question. I think that was the maybe. I mean, it's certainly not a massive downgrade. Yeah, so we could potentially get him. A bit put off for a few reasons, but Yeah, maybe. Let's keep looking because there's more MCs. So, right, too low passing, too old. It's not good enough. I think I'd rather get the other younger guy. Where to get one? Too low passing. Again, I think we'd rather get the other guy. 45 versus. And yeah, again, we'd rather get the other guy than him. MR, I think just too slow. Don't use AMLs. Just looking at this guy, maybe to add position to him. I think just not. This AMC is going to be the main one here, and it just doesn't have the finishing and other stuff that we need. So keep looking. Yeah, this is kind of like the archetype of the player we need. We just need all of his attributes to be 10 more, sort of thing. And then even, yeah, I mean, we probably would get him if that was the case, but obviously that's a massive difference. Okay, so control is low still, and then strength is low. And then a bunch of other stuff is, would just, if it was just higher. Anyway, moving on. Just some stuff that matters a lot too low, like the control. Don't use AMR. Right, so we're into the striker. So I suppose this DC, whatever striker add, comparing to these guys. This guy I think is just, we need that clinical striker, and he's just not. He's younger, but. And when you're looking at these youth players that are like 18, 19, 20 years old, and then you're not really seeing any attributes much over 60, it's not that great really compared to, you know, the fact that you could get a trialist that's not much worse than this. And then this guy's had like 60, 70, so it's had 3 sets of training boosts applied, 3 seasons worth. Like, it's not, gotta look at it through that lens pretty much. Too old, but he is clinical. Composure a bit low, but whatever, the finishing, I think on the whole this is the type of striker that we need. I think we're okay to still run the type that we have. Like, I just mean to, as an extra option, maybe start 2 up front sometimes, whatever, or start this guy, whatever. But the thing is, we're not going to get him because he's 33. But this is the type of striker that, when I keep saying that we need a different type of striker, this is the type that we basically need. As well, we just want them sitting in the box to score, so the fact that he's also got the aerial ability is great. And honestly, that composure would ideally be high, but the thing is, you're not kind of going to get it all, and this is as pretty close as bad as what you would get. Right, finishing too low. Just another fast striker that can't really finish. It's not really what we need. Yeah, so we are left with what was in the end that 20-year-old MC here. The DC to add striker, who was 22. Now, interestingly, can't really play DC with that 42 tackling. It's interesting though, it is worth checking the training options with these guys, because I think the fact that there is a +4 finishing here is the factor that made us think, yeah, we could take this guy. I mean, the long shots seemingly are. You know, aren't getting bigger, but Atlanta was +6 last month. It's a tough one. I think we might just get this guy. Oh, let's check the auctions first. I'm not quite sure. I think we're doing it by age. It's a bit choppy, but I guess we know when we get to the older ages we just won't bother. So, no. And this guy not a million miles away from what we'd want. I think control enough, speed enough, strength ideally higher but enough. Honestly, it's pretty good overall. Passing vision, long shots a bit low, but I think the composure is the big off-putting thing here because of the amount of chances that this guy would get for us. The speed is also not going up. So I think we par. How much is he? Assume he's some crazy amount as well. Well, 6.5 million, which is a crazy amount for us. But I think between the speed seemingly being capped out, the composure is just a big deal because what we really want is. I'm not even sure he's a much better goal scorer than the one we've got, to be honest. He's just a better passer. Again, just the goal scoring isn't there. And again, the goal scoring isn't there. Control is too low to add that position to. But otherwise, he's a bit of a better scorer overall than the other guys. It's just that low control is an issue. Goal scoring not there. The passing is not there. Finishing is not there. Finishing not there. Pretty much just checking the finishing first for all of these guys, and it's just not high enough for any of them. I think the finishing composure combination just isn't high enough. Right, the finishing composure is high enough, so then we can start looking at other stuff, but I think the passing is too low. Again, maybe it's borderline high enough, but the passing is too low. Finishing composure not high enough. Passing too low. Alright. Maybe this guy. So the strength is low, the dribbling is low. I think the main issue with this guy is that he just costs 10 million and he's a bit older. He's 8 million. Alright, I think we're a bit old now. I think it's go back to the scouter players. Let's check out our projection. So we got some cash. I mean, honestly, so I think which guy was it? It was this guy. 81, 68. I don't know, it's hard to pass on this guy, to be honest, but I think we might. We just don't need. I don't guess the other idea is that we do buy this guy. The idea that he'd end up with 72 finishing, 81 speed, etc., and then eventually sell this guy when we get a bid again. So that's an idea. And we do have to consider that whilst we're sort of saying that adding the position is worth like 2 million or whatever, that's sort of true, but it isn't actually 2 million, which is a big difference if you run out of money, which we could easily just run out of money. So it is sort of, it can be less valuable or more valuable than that depending on factors, and I think the fact that we have still got 3 left, I believe, combined with that we could easily run out of money, especially if we get one of these auction players, that could just be all of our money gone. I'm just going to do it. I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's good. It's hard. Like I keep saying, I don't know. I keep getting tempted by these faster strikers, which are great because they're good at getting the chances. But then if they can't finish them, there's only so much that helps you. Which is part of the temptation of this guy because he has the better finishing. I think we'll get him because we have run into an issue of being able to score the goals. So anyway, it's done now. We bought him. And I think we're just going to snap up this other MC, to be honest, because he's so cheap. And if we just change our mind later, it doesn't cost us very much. So we're just going to get him. Yeah, the wages will cost a bit over time, but I think we'll just get him as well. So yeah, so we got these 2 guys. We'll just quickly throw them into the teams. So I think at this point, Signorini comes on the bench, and I think this guy comes here. Now he would need to be subbed probably every match, so we've got to bear that in mind. I think the other guy wasn't really needing to ever be subbed. I think just maybe he's a bit slower. I think there is a question there about if we're serious about winning, should this guy be starting or on the bench, because he's clearly worse than Signorini. I think we could do it like that. And ideally Mackless would be getting matches, but I don't know, he doesn't really have any real future when he's that slow anyway. Alright, so I think this guy's super slow as well, so same sort of deal, but I think the difference with this guy is that he can play 3 positions for us. One of which is DMC, which this guy already has, so I guess that's... So technically only 2, and realistically you're probably not subbing him in either of those 2, no matter how tired they get. So I guess it's sort of just not true, so maybe this guy should be on the bench. So, right, at this point, and then we go to our senior squad, and now we realise that we don't actually still have 3 positions to add, and we should not have bought this guy. Okay, we still do. Go add position, striker, and we can put him on the bench instead of actually, it's probably going to be instead of Resendez. Right. And last thing here is the training options. Got quite a few. So, this is one of our really great set of options. 2 plus 6 speed. So we can go either side. So I think the endurance is positioning, vision, control. Yeah, I think it's just this side for sure. The long shots don't really matter, but you're basically saying +2 dribbling versus +2 vision and +3 endurance. So I definitely think we'll go with that one. especially when his endurance is low, so that has a lot of extra value with it. Right, so straight at we're probably going this side anyway. I was going to say there's a question about whether this guy will be around long term or not, but to bother about that extension, but I think you're going this side anyway, because even without the extension it's just better. I think all of that extra aerial ability, all of that extra speed just matters a lot, and then even outside of that you're saying it's still probably better anyway, arguably. This has a +1 tackling and vision, but this has +4. I mean it's obviously just this side. So Chapa, he has no real future, it's just a case of whatever's going to give him the extra value, I think. So finishing and passing versus crossing, none of that matters too much. Natural fitness matters a bit. Aerial ability matters. I think it's probably this side with the natural fitness and the aerial ability. Finishing doesn't. Yeah, so you're basically kind of saying one passing versus, because the finishing doesn't matter at all. So you're sort of saying one passing versus 2 crossing, which I guess matters a bit because he can play these fullback, wing-back roles. If he does play, it matters a bit for us. I mean, he's never going to play there. That's the problem. If he was going to play there, it would matter. And then the natural fitness and the aerial ability. So I think it's that side for sure. This is the keeper that we wanted to be our long-term keeper, and this is not a very motivating training option, to be honest. For that ends. This is a guy we just bought, knowing full well that we'd probably be going with this option. Octai, that's a good option. 4 passing. The movement doesn't really matter. It's a close one, to be honest, because the passing isn't great, so he's never going to do the that role, the ball playing role. It still matters though. So you're basically saying the 4 passing that matters quite a bit, but not a hugely important thing because it will never be the ball playing role, versus 1 control, which matters a bit, versus 2 positioning, which matters, especially for this particular role for us. It's probably the one that the positioning matters the most from our 3 DC roles that he plays. The movement doesn't really matter, and the speed's going to help. So I think it's this one, where you're basically getting the 1 speed and the 2 positioning and the 1 control instead of the 4 passing, and the movement just doesn't really matter at all. So I think that's right. I think this is a guy I've been starting, right? Yeah. He's even played a couple off the bench for the senior team. So right, so 2 work rate versus 2 dribbling and a finishing. The finishing don't really matter, but the work rate don't matter too much either, because he's just sort of it's not an up and back sort of role, it's just a sit back role. So I think I don't really care about the finishing either. I'm just thinking about the dribbling helps a bit if he has the ball. So honestly, it's pretty close, to be fair, but I think it's that. Just for a different team, it could be the work rate. I don't know. It's pretty close, to be honest. And then Dokken, yeah, this isn't great. So to be honest. But it's probably this one, and I guess it's this one, right? Oh, and also our brand new striker. Let's pick his one. Let's have a look. We did pick one here. This one, I think. The shot stopping is important for us, so that's why we lent towards this one. I don't think the durability is a huge issue because our keepers don't do a lot of work. The command of area sort of matters. I don't think the determinations don't matter too much when they're 29 and they're both -3 speed. So putting all that together, we basically just figured this determination swing doesn't really matter compared to these other ones, all matter more. So this one you're talking about a 3-point swing on shot stopping. This one you're talking about a 4-point swing on durability, but it's a 4-point swing that doesn't really matter. And then this side you're getting the +2 command of areas. So on the whole, we just went with this one basically because of the shot stopping mostly. Right, so that's that. So we did get a couple of players today, so that's probably why it ended up taking a bit longer. And thanks for watching. We're going to get into playing some matches now. Cheers.